You know what time it is. Crack open that bottle of wine. Grab your favorite glass, pour a couple of fingers of scotch in it. Get that stick, light it, and blow. It's time to hang with Steel Sharpened Steel After Dark. Hey, Sharpies, we're pulling that After Dark vibe. It's almost after dark here. I don't know about it's definitely dark on your side, but the darkness has come around just around 6 o'clock-ish. So it's finna be dark over here. How y'all ladies doing over there?
It's dark over here. I'll tell you what, in the mean streets of the A, it's like I'm just sitting here, trying to abide by the rules of, After Dark show. Since we're pre-gaming this week.
We are pre-gaming.
We're homecoming over here.
Yeah,
I would like to, by the way, just like to shout out. If you're in our chat, just give us a little shout out. Good evening. Anthony Turner, first one in the room. Good evening, everybody.
Firstest.
I would like to let you know, for those of you that are partaking of homecoming activities, whether it is with the illustrious school that sits on, on the highest of 7 hills.
That's right.
I'll say it.
It is.
Happening next weekend. And you're trying to figure out how you might go about carrying around libations without having something break in your bag or something be heavy. How can you have something that's going to last all week without resorting to something that's cumbersome and bulky? You know that I'm a fan of boxed wine, and it can now be portable and mobile. And so if you would like to have yourself something that not only is portable and mobile, look like a protein shake. So if anybody want to ask you what's going on, mind your business. I'm trying to be healthy over here, getting my vitamins. You can drink
Lord Jesus.
8 o'clock in the morning. They don't know what it is. Turn the store back into them. They don't have to know that it's black box Cabernet. It is yours.
It is.
And
so that they know where to get it. Show us the label. They may call you.
Black box is the version that I'm using here today. This is their Cabernet Sauvignon that we have right here. It is quite delicious, and it is 3 servings of a 500 milliliter glass, or one real good one, depending on how you drink. Now, it is also biodegradable. This is a hard-coated cardboard, so you're being environmentally friendly.
Did you get it at Whole Foods?
I got it at Publix, which I know you have down in Florida. So.
We don't have Publix, but I will try to find out.
I'm sure you can get it at Trader Joe's.
I'm sure it's something like that.
Target carries these as well.
Look, this homecoming, this SWAC football season, everything has been a very exciting thing for HBCUs right now, and that is why we are getting geared up for the homecoming and the homecoming-ree. I said I prefer the one good serving. All right, Anthony. So
Anthony ready to jump in Chuck's seat.
That's right. I will be headed to Florida. We got the epic return for FAMU. They got fashion shows. They got a comedy show. We got Roy Wood Jr. as our commencement speaker. We got a concert with some dudes I'm never going to see. And so we got a lot going on. I am also not, no shade, I'm not going to the moon to be coughed upon by you Floridians. It's not, I will drive by the parking lot and do this. And that's it. I am not going to be up in the moon. I'm not going to be in Faces. I'm not going to be in a Rally's drive-through. I'm going to be staying in the Verbo with my Sands. We are going to be going to the parking lot of Bragg Stadium, newly renovated, one half of it. And I will go to the new FAMU Marching 100 practice field. Okay. I will go by the big brass rattler that we have on campus. And I'm gonna do all that, but what I am not going to do is get up in Ron DeSantis's Florida and get coughed upon. So
Amen.
don't expect it.
No,
think-
I'm hearing.
Okay, who is this streamy, this twitchy person trying to get up on the ladies? Hey,
Mighty goodness.
That's
Hey.
called a drive-by.
yeah, exactly.
That's a drive-by.
That's right, Andrea Blaylock. I said faces. I said faces. The club you could
made my
walk
heart go
to.
pitter-patter.
That's what I'm saying. You get the club that you could walk to from the campus. You can stumble into faces and
Tom.
stumble out.
That's how you know
Tom.
you had an HBCU. If you got a club you
Tom.
can walk to.
Yes, go ahead,
Oh,
Sharon.
yes, from all of our homes. And that,
Yes, exactly.
you didn't dare drive there on happy hour night. And there was no Uber. That's a lot of Negroes walking miles to the campus.
Yeah,
okay?
Uber was your sober roommate. That's what Uber was.
How about
it was
that?
it was sober.
It was just, how about that? Even if you didn't have any brakes on your car, I crashed into faces once. Statute of limitations have passed. In Betsy, Tom, I was driving Betsy. And I was,
Oh no! Not Betsy.
I was like, Line Sisters,
We have a problem.
we have a
Driving
problem.
this Betsy.
They were like this. There's the wall. just take your foot. I was like, wow. And we crashed into faces. I did try to buy the building in my older age. But
Uh,
wanna
I
make
think it
sure
was
I'm
my
understanding
guilt.
What I'm hearing here. You
Oh,
were
honey.
in the car with
You
no
need- you
brake,
need-
and you chose to crash it into the side of the club. Well, did you then go into the
street-
club and party?
no, the club offered to break her car by offering the wall. And so
Because
the
Faces
club was
is on
being
flat
helpful.
land.
Yes, it's
Faces
flat.
is on flat land. See, all the things you have to know about this. It's on flat land. So as you're going down the street, you could go like this, right? And your car is slowing down because your foot is off the. And eventually, what you wanted me to crash into another car?
Vera said Sharon made an entrance.
Oh, that was always, baby. Tom, that was always.
Oh yes, for real, for sure. Absolument.
But I gotta give Troy Diggs a shout out because he being fancy with me, even though I don't have my bottle tonight. I did order a case, Troy. I suggest to order your case of the prisoner and stock up. It'll last.
Oh, the
you-
wine. Yeah, the wine.
Depends on how much you consume. It's a
Right.
worthy investment to just kind of have gradual. I have your bottle waiting on you when you get here, Tom.
Nice.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. So are we going to dive in because we trying to keep things okay, first of all, 3 of us are chewing. I don't know what
Well, I mean,
Sharon's eating popcorn. I think I have some gum.
Why
And
you gotta
who-
put in my business?
Oh,
Tom,
no.
Chuck came up with his dinner. He said, "Y'all need me on. I'm hungry." Hey, man,
another
it's
part of
after
the-
hours. This is what we
stomach.
when we had the munchies.
No
Got
shit.
to the stomach.
No shit.
I'm the reckless one out here drinking on an empty stomach. Y'all know I'll be all right though.
But you're not
Yeah.
driving.
True.
That's all right. We just coating our stomachs right now. We about to hit it with you.
Okay, are we going to start off heavy or are we going to start off light?
I think we go light.
Okay, so if we're going light, can I just tell you that Sister Dionne Warwick is experiencing a second breakthrough in her career just by being Mama Dion. So she found out there was this thing called Twitter, and she just says she is like the ultimate auntie. She says whatever comes to her mind. She is like black female Trump. If she wants to say it, she gonna type it. And so she came to people's attention because I think it was Jaden, little Jaden, Will and Jada's kid, did something, and she posted a tweet about her confusion about what was going on. That rapidly escalated into people sliding into her DMs and things, and then when the whole Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher taking occasional baths hit, she made a comment about, I have just found out that some of you do not bathe, and black Twitter crowned her Empress of the Universe. So apparently the new thing is that just like the Wendy's brand has a really shady social media Twitter person, brands are now adding Dionne Warwick just to see what shady thing she might say to them so that they can trend in Black Twitter. That is literally the new trend. It says thirsty brands. This is from Huffington Post in the entertainment column. Thirsty brands are tweeting at Dionne Warwick just so she can drag them.
Period.
That
Drag
is
me, auntie, drag me.
that is where we are.
Wow.
That's brilliant. That's freaking brilliant.
I
That
mean, good for her.
I mean, and there it is. They're-
Because as they write that headline, they're listing those thirsty brands, and they're getting
Exactly.
even more hits.
Chuck E. Cheese, Oreos, Papa John's,
Wow.
they are just doing everything. And Dionne Warwick is, I'm sure, eating it up because aside from those Virginia Slims that
No, this
she's
is how
been
it goes. Her
pulling on
agent is
for.
calling each one of them.
Right.
Say, pass the cookie.
Hey, Carla.
Just to get a rep.
I know that's right.
That's why.
So that was a light start. I am so happy for Auntie Dionne. Thank you, Auntie Dionne, for your countless Burt Bacharach hits and being the diva that you are.
But this is the question though. Like, is she getting checks from these brands, or are they getting free publicity from her? That's what I want to know.
I'm saying her representative is calling each brand
And
and saying, for your tweet, here is
Yeah.
for Lolo.
yeah, here, where's that 10,000? Where's that 100,000? Where's that whatever thousand? Because if you gonna ride it, you eating on a wag off. People all up in your stomach, Chuck.
Vera already know.
That is hilarious. She got you. Well, let's go to something else that's entertainment adjacent. This is not as happy. This is a tragedy. But Alec Baldwin was on set of a movie that is in production right now called Rust, and not so dissimilarly from Brandon in the Crow movie.
Brandon Lee.
Brandon Lee in the Crow movie, a prop gun. Alec Baldwin was told that the gun was safe. Alec Baldwin discharged the gun and it shot a bullet and killed one of the persons and injured somebody else. And so what's coming out now is that apparently there were a lot of violations that were being posed and raised, and employees were upset, and that the safety precautions weren't being held. And now the crew is just like walking off
Yeah.
the set.
That's so devastating.
It
That's so
is. And I mean,
devastating.
anytime, this is not far from the first time that someone has experienced tragedy in a movie set. I mean, as far back as the Twilight Zone, where,
Right.
Yeah.
you
The
know, and
helicopter incident.
the helicopter incident. And so these people, as tragic as they are, it's still a business, and the investment that is in the company is such that they are going to continue production. And so God bless the family of that woman who was on set with him. I'm sure Alec Baldwin is dealing with a ton of guilt right now for being a part of a person's death. And so I just hope that the family can find peace and that they can get their act together so that things don't continue to go absolutely nuts in the aftermath of this tragic
I'm
shooting.
trying to get the name
Of the person?
of the woman that
She was a cinematographer. It's
Beautiful young woman.
Helena Hutchins.
yeah.
Helena Hutchins.
Yeah.
And the director, Joel Souza, was also injured.
Right. He was told that the gun was cold, that it had blanks in it, everything was safe, and then
it
it
was not.
discharges, and it was not. And that was says now they've had 3 accidental discharges in recent times, and so that's why they're walking off, because this wasn't a one-time thing. This wasn't a fluke,
Correct.
And
They
you
said
know,
they've
what the
been
hell is
sloppy
going on?
for a while. But can you imagine? That is a testament on just how fragile life is.
Mm-hmm.
And how everything about you. I mean, I used to work for Alec, and when I even think about all that he's been through from public opinion, when he was balled over like that, and you could see, I hated the exploitation of the trauma, because you really do need to be thinking about the person that's deceased.
Right.
But 2 people's lives just changed drastically, right? Because he will never get over that. That guilt will never go away.
She had
And the
a husband and an 8-year-old
Yep,
son.
yep. And when they started, her story just kept unfolding, and it was like, you know, that is the epitome of an accident, right? And it's so heartbreaking. You have to pause and say how fragile life is.
Now, this is another interesting twist. Jermaine, who was out there in LA, told by a non-union member that the gun was safe, and the union member walked off in protest. So there's more to this.
It's still
Oh.
building. It's still building. It's still building. It's horrible.
Well, and speaking of union employees, obviously some of the big news that was out at the end of last week going into this week was whether or not the IATSE, the 60,000 employees who are, the key grips, the gaffers, all those names you see in the credits after the stars in that big old scroll, they were threatening to strike if they were not able to get a better deal. And so it looked like the producers had made an arrangement with the IATSE union and were going to meet their demands, but they didn't strike. But what came out almost instantaneously is that they in fact did not get what they were asking for. They were told some things, and so production did not cease, but in fact that they were not actually acceding to all of the demands. And so what we end up with is a situation where they're still working, but the union at large is going to have to vote on whether or not they will agree to these terms. And if they do not agree to the terms, then in fact they will be striking.
And this is indicative of what we're seeing. This is right. And Jermaine said, and that's why they walked off. And so this is a different flavor, but the same core of what we're seeing across the United States and across multiple countries right now is people are quitting their jobs, and the masses are starting to see that the elites don't give a damn about what's going on, and so people are understanding, you know what, I can do bad all by myself. I can start my own business. I can mix shea butter and sell it on the internet and make the money I'm making here. I can sell fish dinners instead of craft services and start my own little food truck, like all kind of things people are discovering. I don't have to work for you and be treated like this. I have other alternatives. I can start my own YouTube channel. I ain't got to be an extra no more. Like all kind of things that people are discovering they can do differently. And the elites are realizing, oh, wait, what? You want wages? You want what? You want me to pay you more than $8 an hour? I don't understand. The law of supply and demand has come back to bite a lot of job suppliers in the ass. The same way you raise the price of gas and you raise the price of bread and you raise the price of a bottle of water, the price of labor is going up and they don't know what to do about it. You have to cut into your golden parachutes and your trust funds and your $1 million bonuses, son. Eat the rich. It's starting to happen in every aspect of labor, and they don't like it. But I mean, it's like I had the same epiphany back in like 1999. Like I can go live with my mama.
Yeah.
I ain't got to be here. And every now and then I be thinking, I can go somewhere and get paid and get treated this bad for a whole lot more money at another company. I've had that thought several times in my life. I wait, what is this one? The narrative is that people just don't want to work. That's a lie. They don't want to work for the pittance
Yes.
that you are paying them.
Good save.
Thank you.
I have a question since you brought up gas. Chuck, how much are you paying to fill up your tank these days?
A grip.
Yeah.
It's a grip. I think prices are around $3, like definitely summa cum laude prices, like $3 and
$3.89.
yeah, 3.9. And like the jokes say, we need some of those academic probation
I know that's right.
prices to come back, and so it's a pain in the ass. I mean, when I pull up, but the other side of it is much of what I'm doing since the pandemic started, and Sharon, is from the crib. So thankfully, I don't have to drive as much as I did pandemic, where I would easily put in 200-300 miles every other week. And now I'm pretty much only having to fill up once a week. So that's a good trade-off, but it's still some BS. I'm not liking these gas prices.
$3.55, Harry? I wish. Damn.
It cost me $71 to fill up my tank this week.
It cost me
$71.
$84, and that's because My my daughter needed a car, and so I gave her my car.
Mm-hmm.
She has a Honda Cross Tour now, and I went out and I bought myself an MDX. And the thing about the MDX that I did not realize is because it's a luxury car, it really wants to have premium gas. And I was like, oh damn, I'm supposed to use premium gas? And then it takes 20 gallons now, and it gets slightly less gas mileage than my Cross Tour. So I'm still getting through a week on a tank, but my tank is more expensive.
Yeah.
And so I looked at $84. I was like, criminy. I can't even shop for gas unless it's Costco, because at least I know I'm going to get 7 times the gas benefits back. The Costco gas, and their most expensive gas is $4.29. I drove around today and there was gas at $5.15.
That's
crazy.
California.
$5.15.
But that is a time that I get off work. That is not a gas price.
Yeah.
It's a gas price out here, and don't go to San Diego. You be paying $5.79.
Wow.
No,
And
I
Tom-
go to San Diego.
Let
You
me
be riding a
clear, Tom
bike.
Cunningham.
Say what now?
As a 10-year MDX driver, okay, don't play with that gas. You
I'm
better
not
only
playing with the
use
gas.
premium.
I'm not playing with the
Don't
gas.
mess up your gas tank.
I'm not gonna do it.
See, me and Anthony right here. I drive a Toyota Camry. It has I want to say it has 14.9 gallons in the tank, because I know that I have put 14.9 gallons of gas in that car at some point, because I ran it down to where it said 2 miles.
Where it's at?
Right, where you pull into the gas station and it hesitates. Like,
Yeah.
I've been there. So I feel like it holds 15 gallons. And I will drive around. I will see the thing say 17 miles to empty, and I'll be like, that means I can go at least 15 more miles on this freeway, searching for cheap gas. I will pull out my Kroger benefits. I will pull out Costco.
Everything.
Anything I can
Listen,
get. Yeah.
MDX says it flashes the first little indicator when you down to like 30 miles left. And I was like, oh, okay. So now I actually have the countdown, and I look at it and it said 17 miles. And I was like, I'm getting close. And then it said 6 miles. I said, I am going right to Costco. I am not going to be playing games at 6 miles, and I have to go pick up one of the kids after school, and I be waiting in the line, idling, and just No, I ain't doing it. I'm
So
not
just
doing
a few tricks before I come back to this. So the Costco gas is the jam. The Gas Buddy app is the truth in the fire. It will tell you the cheapest gas in your neighborhood or in like a 10-mile radius.
Okay.
But Monique, let me tell you something. You tell your husband, everybody on here don't want to hear about him and his little electric car.
I sure do not.
We not feeling that, and he can keep his little snide little Snickers and stuff, his little giggles. No, sir, no.
Did you have to shoot a bird though?
Right.
Sorry, husband.
We appreciate
Man,
you.
not even on here.
You know what, Jermaine? I got to tell you, it is not too. See, all of the Costco's out here that have gas, they had gas that was added. So there are no Costco's that I go to that have fewer than 8 lanes. And so it's not, it's a line, but they got double pumps in each of the lanes. So you've got 16 cars that can be serviced at a time. And so it actually moves. And I don't mind waiting. I'll tell you what, as long as I have more than 1 gallon or 1 mile left in my gas indicator while I get into that Costco line, I can get some other people to help me push. I don't really care. But you were talking, Joy, about people getting new jobs and things.
Yeah. So, people are going for new jobs. People are trying to elevate their status. And this also ties into gas, because you know what doesn't get good gas mileage? Pickup trucks. And there's a video I want to show y'all. And this is a real ad of somebody who is currently applying for a new job. And she used a pickup truck to try to prove her point. Let me show y'all this nonsense real quick.
Oh,
I'm
God.
Michelle Fiore, and I'm running for governor. I spent my whole life fighting the establishment. I was the first female majority leader in the Nevada Assembly and one of the first electeds to endorse Donald J. Trump. And you better believe I was attacked for it. Washington Post called me a gun-toting calendar girl. And Politico magazine said I was the Lady Trump, and I don't care. We need outsiders, fighters, not the same old boring, moderate, compromise, blue blazer politicians. Let's start with a 3-shot plan. Ban vaccine mandates, ban critical race theory, and stop voter fraud. The Joe Biden administration is coming after me. I'm Michelle Fiore, and I'm ready for the fight.
Look, she just got off the pole. I ain't got time for her. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, can I ask why Lara Croft Tomb Raider's auntie was in the middle of the desert? Like, what did you think? And her gun, am I crazy or did her gun handling look awfully pretend?
Awfully pretend. She's probably never fired a weapon in her life.
She was keeping in her thong when she got off the pole.
Yeah, well, if she had the upper body strength to support her ass on the pole, then I give her props for that, because it lets them those chesticle muscles be grabbing it. I don't know, because that was a lot. They called me the Lady Trump, and I don't care. Really, girl?
I will tell you, as someone who frequents the gun range, I don't know if she actually shoots guns. I can tell you that is not her holster. She is not used to holding that gun that way. And those are blasting caps. If you shoot something, first of all, you ain't shooting it. If you shoot it, it's not going to explode like that.
No, it'll shatter. No,
Right.
No, so that was underneath the gun, and the thing is, she's playing with the wrong people. You're trying to appeal to the NRA, and you don't know nothing about shooting a gun.
Right.
Right.
And you're using blasting
way
caps.
too intelligent. She is.
Falsehood.
She's dangerous.
She's as bad as who's that chick? Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Ugh.
Yeah, she's
Right.
cut out that same kind of.
Yeah, what we call her Marjorie Soylent Green. Yeah, all of that. All of them.
Ah!
Yeah.
Still mad
That's
at all
right.
Mhm.
But I mean, somebody else was talking about like the fact that she is, what is it? I am Michelle Fiore. I am running for governor. So my thing, calm down, put your tongue back, babe. I was making a point.
I didn't quite see that. Could you do that again?
I am running for governor. So
Yes, you are.
shut up.
Got my vote.
That's exactly what she's going for.
Out of control.
I done ran Sharon off. I'm sorry, Sharon. But my point is, some people were like, I remember seeing when the tweets underneath that, when I saw it on Twitter, the responses were, she needs a better bra, blah, 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 who dressed her. That's all on purpose. You got to remember who she is appealing to. She is appealing to the men that are going to vote and going to tell their wife to vote with them. She's not appealing to the women. And the tight red dress, the leather jacket, the bad mama, all that kind of stuff, the boobs pushed all up, all of that was she's selling sex, guns, and violence.
And I'm not gonna lie. To add to that, Joy, when I was at the 2008 Republican convention, and I was covering it for the Tallahassee Democrat as a blogger, and when they announced Sarah Palin, now this was before Sarah went on the Katie Couric interview, so we didn't quite fully know how prodigiously stupid he was. That was still about 2 days away. But when she was announced, and then when I got there that Sunday and started interviewing different people who were there for the convention, almost every compliment that I heard about her related back to the way she looked.
Yep.
And I just was like, that's not, I'm like, even as a man, I'm enough of a feminist to know that that's a bad look. That looks really are the only thing. Oh man, she's so beautiful. Or, oh man, have you seen her? Oh God, she's hot. And I'm sitting there thinking, but what's between her ears, and where is her experience, and do you trust her if McCain has a heart attack to be able to lead? And of course, about 2 weeks later, the Couric interview popped off, and then we all realized how stupid she was. But
right back when those things mattered.
Right.
Well, there's that.
I remember watching, it was a Daily Show with Jon Stewart at the time. I remember watching a video they were interviewing in your state of Florida. It was a bunch of retired citizens, men and women, and there was a couple of retired veterans in there. and one older gentleman, white man, and he was saying how very insulted he was that they would put this woman up there. And he said he didn't have no problem with her being a woman, is that they threw her up there like
Right.
some kind of pinup doll,
Yeah.
to try to like pander to people, and she had no political experience. And he was offended that they had put up someone to have the second highest office in the land with no real political experience, that she's one step away from, one heartbeat away from the presidency. And then he's like, that's why they can't have my vote, because we
So,
can't have somebody.
and
And that,
dumb. I mean, let's just be real. No, you don't have political experience, and neither does Sharon. But if I would trust you two as president of the United States, because you're intellectuals and you can think and you can solve problems. And so, yeah, I mean, experience matters. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but at least come to the table with some sense. Sarah was stupid, and as is Marjorie Taylor Greene, and as is this buxom chick, whatever.
right now, Carla, you asking, did we just do the same? No, ma'am, we did not. So let's remember, going from senator to vice president is different from going from governor of a state of no people. Let's just be real. To vice president.
Half term governor.
Term, and also not having, because governor of a state and senator dealing with national politics are two different entities.
Yeah.
Senator has always been seen as a stepping stone to president. You know, you can do governor to president, but those are two different things. You know, you're doing local versus national. You're also talking about being on that stage, dealing with foreign policy, having to deal with passing bills and all that other kind of stuff, versus being in your home state and only doing local stuff. So yes, so two very different things. And this woman that we just saw, she just got voted in as the Las Vegas City Council in 2017. That was her first time stepping on any sort of political stage. 2017, 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Now she's running for governor of the state, and all she knows is the gun somebody gave her to put on that holster and make she knows as much about politics as Trump does. So yes, she is the Lady Trump.
Well, speaking of the Lady Trump, or the grown-up Trump, whatever you want to call the boy,
And you're right. I'm from Alaska. It's a beautiful state.
he was also trying to make a new gig for himself. And what he's doing is trying to create another social media site. So we know the very first social media site that he tried to make was From the Desk of Trump. And From the Desk of Trump folded in only a couple of months, because wasn't nobody trying to do that. If they couldn't get their Trump content binging in their hip on their phone for free, they didn't want to deal with it. And so he had to shutter that. So that was an embarrassment. Now he's trying to get funds for a new startup called Truth Social, of all things. And some investors who initially had backed into this, it was called a, what are these things called? SPACs. So Special Purpose Acquisition Company. And in the Special Purpose Acquisition Company, you can put money in. You don't exactly know what it's going to turn into, but you put it in. And so there were some key investors who put their money in to this SPAC, and Trump announced that the company was going to be Truth Social. And one of the investors who held 10% of the outstanding stock in the company, 10%, he bailed as soon as he saw what it was about, because he said the idea that he would help Trump build out a fake news business called Truth makes me want to throw up. That's what he said. So we can see that everybody is trying to get their new hustle on in the pandemic, and it looks like at least one former president, soon to be indicted, who can't go a week without getting a new piece of investigation slapped up against his head, is having some trouble with investors. Of course, there are some investors who are perfectly willing to be into business with Trump, but a social media site is not going to be it.
Right. Most people are like, where's this money going? Trump. Like, that's the way they do it now. Like, they do like that, like the Homer Simpson, like.
Into the bushes. We're going to do the Matrix. Just
Yeah.
try to avoid it.
He has literally robbed hundreds of millions of dollars from people.
He
Hundreds
is and has
of
always
millions of dollars.
He's a charlatan and a con man. And his entire bid, and this is what always amazed me. And there's a whole like, there were several articles that I read I found fascinating about this. He is and has always been a con man. Trump steaks, Trump school, Trump towers, his casinos, everything have always been put towards putting money in his pocket and robbing people who were gullible enough to believe him in the lies that he told, based off the fact that he said, "My name is Trump and you should believe me." That's all he's ever had to trade on. And people have believed him time and again, so much to the point that when they realized they were being fooled, they didn't want to come clean about how easily they were to be fooled. And so they'd rather keep riding a lie than tell somebody, wow, I got duped. And this is where we find ourselves in 2020, going into 2022. You got half a country. You got, we'll say of the 74 million people that voted for him, 50 million or so are still like, nah, he's my guy, because he didn't. No, I believe him, because they can't fathom the idea that they were that freaking stupid. And so they can ride the lie.
Sharpies. Breaking news about Donald Trump. A licensing violation could shut down his new social media site before it even has a chance to get up off the ground. Apparently, he was using some open source code because he couldn't even pay for a team to put his site together. And so his social media site is built on Mastodon. And Mastodon is similar to Twitter. The code is open source, meaning that anyone can use it as long as they abide by certain rules, namely that they agree to make the source code of the modified version available to the public. And Truth Social did not do it. So they are on a 30-day countdown clock to see if they're even going to be able to stay alive, because he is just that stupid. He's cheap. Y'all, Trump went and said, what can I find? What can get this site up and running quick? And he doesn't have anybody apparently in Silicon Valley or anywhere else that really, really wants to work for him. So he cadged together some BS, didn't follow the rules, of course. And now, before he's even got a chance to start, all you investors, just be aware, a con man gon' con. That's all he's ever going to do. He's just going to con. There's nothing there. He wanted to put Truth Social out so that he thought people would be downloading the app. He thought people would be doing this, that, and the third. No.
Here's the thing, though. Even when he had money, he was still cheap. He still cut corners. Every single one of his properties that was built with shoddy materials. They cut corners, they greased palms to, fix things. Here's what I always found the most hypocritical is that he hired seasonal and migrant workers to do a lot of the work to build his casinos. Mm-hmm. Then he let them go without paying them. And then he campaigned on the dangers of the same migrant workers. Mm-hmm. That is some bullshit. Mm-hmm. Really think about it. He got special visas for people to come in and do work for him, stiffed them, put them out, and then campaign. They're bringing crime. They're bringing drugs. You mean the people that you hired, son?
Right.
Former president of the United States of America.
He talked about anchor babies and all of these foreigners coming in on these fake visas, but got his wife a genius.
You took that baby box to the head in the middle of the Melania speech. Got his wife a genius grant for showing her much smaller tatas than Miss Fiore.
I mean, that ain't hard to do, is be smaller than Miss Fiore.
Well, that's true.
And I'm being petty and mean, because I used to have tatas that size, and I understand her back is probably hurting her right now somewhere, and I feel for the chick. And yes, Anthony, this box will be gone before the night is out. This is what I do now. Considering the type of work I do for a living, people ask me, how do you keep yourself from going insane? I often think of that not Alec Baldwin, he's on my mind. I think about that James Baldwin quote: to be a Black person in the United States and to be even semi-conscious is to be in a state of rage at all the time. And I know that I love that quote, but you know what I'm saying? Even to be a little bit woke is to just be mad, enraged all the time. And when I tell you that I have a almost constant rotation of exercise, wine, and edibles, just to keep me able to sit in front of a Zoom like this and have a civil voice and talk to people who have never heard of the things that are going on in the world, and explain to them the history that they don't know, and talk to them about the things that they've never heard, and explain to them what a microaggression is, and get them to understand these things day in, day out. And I need to do the work, and I love doing the work because I want them to understand, and they're willing to listen. And I have a chance like we've never had before to get people to come together, not only in the US, but I'm doing stuff overseas, far overseas. I'm talking like 12 hours off on time zones, wanting to understand how to be more inclusive and how to stop racism and sexism and homophobia and xenophobia and all this kind of stuff. I'm not going to miss this chance to talk to people in a different way. I'm not going to miss this. I'm not throwing away my shot, right?
Hello, Hamilton.
Have people listen to what we're trying to say. And I'm not only doing it for Black people, I'm trying to bring everybody. That's what real inclusion is. I'm trying to bring every other marginalized community along with me. And, if I can crack the door open and get us in, and if some people speed through a little bit ahead, I'm not mad about there being a bill against anti-Asian hate. Because if they can pass that, I'm always going to hold it up. Like, you did this. I'm trying to wait on my lynching bill. I'm over here like, all the time. I'm trying to bring everybody forward. But when I turn the cameras off and I have exhausted myself and I'm just so frustrated because I just made a tenth of a millimeter progress today, I lean back and I get my box and I get my vape pen and I chill out and I turn all the lights off. And
ladies and gentlemen, to be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be in a rage almost all the time.
Amen.
True.
USA.
James Baldwin was a true
treasure.
Public intellectual of the best type. And let's us all get on that boat. Okay, conversations. I think that we are living in this crazy place now where there's COVID on the one side, there's what we thought was going to be happening under Biden on the other side, there's the threat of these new people in the midterm elections that are coming in trying to out Trump. There's Trump just being in the space. There's so much going on that you're just trying to stay alive, just trying to live your life. That's why I am absolutely taking this time. People were talking about, you going to homecoming? I said, damn, Skippy. I am absolutely going because I missed it last year, and it is what homecoming is for me. At the very least, it is a non-stop joy machine. When I go to homecoming and I see my people that I stepped onto campus with 36 years ago.
35.
Yeah, 35. Okay, 35.
We even have shirts.
We do.
Your
So
degrees got kids.
that's what I'm saying. And I bump into people and it's a constant, hey! And and what you been doing? And then the unconscious in your head, what is that name again? Yeah! And it's just for those 72 hours, I'm with my Sands, I'm with my friends, I'm with my freshman brothers and sisters, I'm walking the yard, and I'm just having a blast. And that's exactly, I need to dip my spirit in that well every year to help me. I see you, Harry. I know you're not coming. Darn it. Harry told me he wasn't coming. I'm going to miss you too, Harry. But I'm not going to miss the rest of y'all because I'm going to be kicking it. I hope somebody in Tallahassee got me one of them Pattyfoot bricks. I asked some of my frat brothers to get over to the Pattyfoot and get me a brick of the dorm where I used to stay now that they've torn it down. How dare you? What are all those roaches going to do?
I know.
They've been gone, boo.
Yeah.
Everything gone.
Maybe they could get you a brick with a roach like baked into it, dab between the bricks and it's stuck,
I want to make a small pivot
Pivot.
before we just start reminiscing, because there were a couple other political things that happened this week.
Okay.
First, I'd like us to ask Brother Chuck to lead us in a tribute to our fallen General Colin Powell.
Yes.
Believe it or not, that was just Monday. That's what kind of week this has been. That
That's
was
crazy.
just Monday.
That's crazy.
And I would be remiss if we didn't just acknowledge his contributions to our lives and to this country and this world, and ask Brother Chuck to lead us in that memorial.
Oh, thank you, Sister Sharon. Colin Powell, as we all know, was an iconic figure for those of us who are old enough to have remembered him coming up in the 1980s and his rise as a national security advisor under President Ronald Reagan, and then later as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff under George Herbert Walker Bush. And it was during that period when he was the architect of the Gulf War that was very successful, that it was absolutely amazing to be alive at that time and to see a Black man in charge of everything. Now, y'all know that I love history. And in addition to loving history, Tom and I are both military brats. Tom's dad, United States Air Force, and my dad was in the Army. So there was some adjacency to the Powell family for my own family. Now, I did not ever meet General Powell, but I know that my father and General Powell served together at different installations. I know that my mother and Alma were friendly, because the life of being military brats in the 60s and 70s and even 80s meant that more often than not, when you were on post somewhere, the Black families knew each other, right? So, and the Black families interacted because race is what it is and racism is what it is. So while I never got to meet him, I do know that there's some adjacency, and I know that my mom was pretty broken up about it earlier this week. And I think that, obviously everyone is. Pivoting from that personal aspect of it, though, when I got to Morehouse in 1990, we got there on, I believe, August the 17th or the 18th of that year. 2 weeks earlier, Saddam Hussein had invaded Kuwait. And it was at that point that the buildup by the United States military began. Now, I'm going to tell you how very personal that was. You got to remember that our generation, we were the post-Vietnam generation. My father served in Vietnam. And so we were still dealing with, as children, teenagers, early 20s, we were dealing with the specter of America's failure in the Vietnam War. So there was a whole lot of speculation of, can we defeat, we being America, Saddam Hussein? At that point, I think Iraq had like the third or fourth largest standing military in the world. And there was some legit concerns that, were we ready as a country to go back into battle when we haven't been in battle since we got put out of Saigon? And so with that, on a personal level, while I never said this to my boys, I was concerned because my dad had retired about 6 years earlier, and he got that letter from the military, which was essentially, if this goes left, you could be recalled to active duty because we might have to have all hands on deck. And so there was some personal nervousness there too, which was, oh my God, if Saddam is as bad as they're claiming and it goes long, is my old man going to have to go back and strap it on once more? And so I was nervous about that. And so then again, here comes Colin Powell. And so every single news conference in January of 1991, it was this brilliant, articulate Black man, unapologetic, basically making the case that if we have to fight Saddam in the next few weeks, this ain't gonna be no Vietnam. We've learned the lessons, because he fought in Vietnam 2 tours, and he and General Schwarzkopf and all of that command staff was like, there won't be a repeat. And there was not a repeat, right? Their promises actually came to fruition. It was one of the shortest ground wars in world history. I think that the bombing lasted for about a month. And when the ground invasion started, it was over in like 3 days. Those Iraqis were running up out of their trenches and everything else, throwing down their guns and just like, hey, no mas, we don't want it. And that was Colin Powell, okay?
Yeah. It was where shock and awe came
It
from.
was shock and awe. And that was his phrase, right? Shock and awe was his phrase. And so what I will always remember is after the success of the Gulf War, this man was so prominent that he had the Democratic Party and the Republican Party
Sweating,
jockeying for him
trying to get
to
it.
run for president. Like we say in the South, both of them, okay?
That's right.
He guaranteed would have been the first black president of the United States had he chosen to take up either party's baton. And yet he chose not to. Part of his concern was that, you know, he had a public career as a military officer, and he didn't want to put his wife, Alma, and his family through the rigors of a lengthy political campaign. And I think people forget sometimes that in 2000, when we think about all that's gone wrong in the world since 2000, I can't help but think how differently the world would have been had he chosen to run. Because not only was Ronald Reagan really pulling for his mentee to run, not only was George Herbert Walker Bush pulling for his mentee to run, but George Herbert Walker Bush's son, George W. Bush, has said time and again that had Colin Powell chosen to run,
He
would
wouldn't have.
stood down because he had no chance.
Right.
And so with that, I think we missed an opportunity. I don't think that we even have 9/11, or if we do, I don't think we go headlong into an Iraq war and a long war for 20 years in Afghanistan. I know that there are people who are like, but Chuck, he was the one who went, he atoned for that. And
I think he did.
That. Yeah, I think how many other ways can you say I'm sorry, right? But he was a soldier. He was Secretary of State, but soldiers follow orders. Same with airmen, as Tom knows. Sharon, you know this because of Mr. Hicks. You follow orders. And so when George W. Bush said, we are going into Iraq and these are the reasons, the Secretary of State, a decorated general, followed orders and went and sold a bill of goods at the United Nations. And Colin Powell regretted that to his last day. And
Owned it.
Yeah, and he owned it. So
Owned it in a way that none of the other people, Donald Rumsfeld, none of the other people, Dick Cheney, had the stones to get up and say.
Yeah.
And, you know, a good friend of mine was in a discussion in a private group me, and I posted my comment about Colin Powell, and I said, you know, it's a sad day. And he simply said, is it? And I do feel that it was a sad day, because at the end of the day, the person who was in the White House and the vice president had an agenda.
Yeah.
And if Powell had not done as he was instructed to do in terms of, you know, helping the United States position, I think there was a reasonable argument to be made that, you know, Saddam Hussein was a horrible person and probably should have been, you know, whatever. There were some policy rationales around which one could make a rationalization and say, well, let's just go on ahead and do it. Because again, shock and awe, we'll get in, we'll get out, we'll be greeted as liberators, all that sort of stuff. And it did not turn out that way. And when everybody else was scurrying for cover, when the light switch was flipped, Colin Powell admitted that it was a bad choice. And he would have been replaced by somebody who would have done it.
Thank you.
Colin Powell was not going to stop George W. Bush from going after that man. He just wasn't. And so I'd rather have Colin Powell as Secretary of State than not in that situation.
But let's roll it back to if he had run for president and won. There's a butterfly effect that we're missing.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
you know, if he runs for president and wins, that changes everything. That changes who is Secretary of State. That changes the relations, the build up to that moment. A whole lot of things are different. We don't even know that we even would have had this situation.
we wouldn't have had.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have had that.
How different do things go? You know, do we even, and in pursuant to that, do we even have a situation like we had in 2000 where we have the Bush-Gore thing happening in Florida. If like how many things ripple out from that?
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
But you know what's so deep? You know, the man is gone now, right?
Right.
So anybody that's trying to litigate his record, you know, fuck off, right? The reality is what he represented, right? And in Black America, we have so few greats, right? And we've lost so many so quickly in this decade. I mean, literally since 2020 and 2021. And when you think about what we're up against, and that we just spent ad nauseum time talking about number 45, and what we just came out of, which I'm still trying to dissect out of, with all the issues we have with what Barack Obama coulda, shoulda, woulda done, right? Look at the character difference
Oh,
between President 44, the trash we just lived through, and even a Colin Powell, and the trash that was the national security advisor right at the beginning of Trump's administration. I mean, you can't even hold a candle. I can't even remember the fool's name who's still walking around looking and sounding crazy. So when you even think of what Black men, Black people as a whole have to go through, the kind of life and decoration and representation is all of a sudden we act like his role made the ultimate decision is ludicrous, right?
right.
But the character in which he portrayed, even at the time, as divided as the country was, he came at a time, even when Barack Obama first ran, to say, I have to step out and I've got to make a statement. You know, it was kind of like that thumbs down moment of John McCain. That was how I felt about Colin Powell stepping out and saying, not only am I supporting Barack Obama, but he also supported Joe Biden for president, right? And their history, that story hasn't been told yet. When you see at least 4 presidents that will be at his funeral, right? At least 4 presidents.
Yeah.
Will be at his funeral. When you see the statesman, he's going to be sent off like a president.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
He's going to be sent off like a president.
Yes,
and
he will.
It seems, you're almost like, when's the funeral? I was like, the man just died Monday. Today is Friday. But this week has been so unbelievable.
Sharon, take us a couple weeks.
And he's Jamaican. So,
Oh, yeah.
Get here. Cousin them got to get here. Auntie.
Yeah, it's going to be December.
Think about, I know. I'm just talking about just how long this week has.
Yeah.
Right, has been, right? He can have Memorial next month. But when I even think about the stories that our children will be able to learn about him, right? The representation that he was, the gentleness, right? The staunchness, the fact that he was a Republican, right? He was a different type of Republican. To even see Condi re-erect this week, right? And unfortunately be, encapsulated in controversy. She was anti-Colin Powell, right? During his time, she replaced him. And she did it with a lot more class than is done today. But there was a lot of strife during that time. I remember vividly, right? I remember I was a big fan of that era on the opposite side, but of course you can't help but watch their move, right? When you come from a Clarence Thomas to a Colin Powell to a Condoleezza Rice, it's almost disgusting to say those names together, right? And have Colin stuck in the middle. So it's just, he's definitely worth acknowledgement and reverence and respect and a moment of silence of, the complexity of, as the two of you being military brats, me being a military spouse, we know it's a different world, right? Civilians don't have the same level of empathy, and our service members and service families don't have the same level of patience. And so it's almost like we live in a silent universe because it's too much, it's too much to dissect. It's 2 different worlds, right? The way he emerged and always brought his wife into the story, he always showed this family side. And when they did his whole story that he grew up in the Bronx, he was like, oh, I couldn't have gotten to West Point. He almost looks like he had this pedigree life. He's like, nah, dude, I was happy to go to City College. Yeah. And then, even his story was so humble that I wish I would have known more of when he was alive, right? it was just such a beautiful package that kept evolving on the day he died to learn more about the man, the character, right?
Yeah.
And the choices that he made, even not to run for president, right?
Yeah.
Why? The silence that he went through with his cancer, you know, and you know, we got to transition to talk about the fact that he was double vaxxed, but he hadn't gotten the booster yet.
Yeah.
Right. And even dealing with current events, you know, all of us are very pro booster, right? That booster announcement for anybody that's listening, go get your shit now.
Amen.
If you have not gotten it yet. Don't be talking about, I mean, they did the okie doke, which I'm glad some of us didn't go for it. As soon as they roll it out, that means it's time, right? Then they roll it back saying, not yet, let the elders go. No. Okay, the vaccines are waning. And you need to get your boosters, especially Black people. Those of you that's coming to homecoming, get your booster now. Check whatever box you got to. The boosters are available, especially at CVS and Walgreens. Go get the damn thing.
Just roll up in CVS, make an appointment, show up the next day.
I mean, it is
CVS
important.
doling it out. Black people have learned it. The CVS is doling it out. Go get your booster. It is not a booster. Go get your third shot.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
The first two are not potent enough. And it's waning through us.
Well, it is important.
Pause in September. September was last month, people. Go get your booster. Now.
It is important to note that he was severely immunocompromised because of his myeloma and his blood cancer. And so, you know, when it was just
He's much more exposed.
Much more exposed to the extent that it's impossible to quantify what the difference is. But the message about getting your booster is important. We have lost not only him, we have lost too many people to this disease, and there really isn't any reason. People talk about, oh, the farmer's making money. The farmer ain't making money off you. You weren't getting that check from the federal government. Why don't you just leave it alone? You got enough checks from the federal government over the summer anyway. So take your free shot. Go get it. Stop fronting. Most of the people making the biggest noise talking about Big Pharma ain't got no stock in Big Pharma, no way. Go on ahead and go get your shot. Just do it.
Just do it.
Absolutely.
Just get the booster shot. Ain't no reason not to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, we are at the hour mark. What else is it that we going to talk about before we hang up now? I'm being serious. We trying to keep this.
I'm looking forward to seeing y'all next week.
Oh, yeah, brother. I'm a
I-
beater.
Yeah.
I wish y'all well next week. I'm pre-gaming for a different trip because I will be in Hawaii next week.
Wes,
my
we
first
know.
vacation since 2019.
I'm
I'm on a different time schedule. I'm hoping to
What
come
day are
back.
you leaving?
I'm leaving Saturday. I'm not tomorrow, but Saturday week.
Okay.
And
Wait, you're leaving on homecoming?
No, she's leaving on Saturday to her in her world.
Yeah, I'm Saturday the 30th.
Right, but that's homecoming.
Is it?
So that means you're going to be in place on Friday?
Oh, that's what he's trying to get to. He wants to know if you're going.
You're
you
going to be
gonna
on
be
the
on the air with us
homecoming
on Friday?
episode is the question.
Oh, I thought y'all were doing it on Saturday. Y'all doing it?
No.
I don't know how he plans on doing it Friday night after 3 to 8
Okay.
at the day party. So
Y'all gonna be
It's going to be
Lit.
lit. That's how I'm doing it. It's going to be lit.
glassy eyes, lit.
We
so.
might need to
You
set
know
up
what?
a
I'm
trail.
really feeling. I'm feeling like it's a setup. Like, am I
Who the
gonna be
hell
the
gonna be
designated
right?
driver of the show? Like, I'm the
Listen,
one.
listen. I have a
That's not even
laptop.
possible for you, Joy.
I have a laptop and I have headphones.
Okay.
And my
it's-
balcony is across the street, across the park
Yeah,
from
it's-
the day party.
No, it's going to be extra after dark. It's going to be
Word.
it's
Y'all
going to
don't
be
have to
so
come in.
extra after dark. It's going to be dark after.
All right. Well, I'm in. If y'all, yeah, because I'm not leaving till Saturday morning. So if y'all doing the show Friday night, I'm in.
Oh yeah, let's do that. We
Word.
got to do it.
Play
We
by
got to
ear.
do it.
Play
I would
by
love
ear.
to see y'all in y'all natural habitat.
Chuck will be
Behold
passed
the
out
rattler
by then.
in their
Chuck
natural
ain't gonna be passed out.
with
I'm
wings,
gonna make it happen. It's
rib sandwiches and Hennessy.
Are you coming to the day party, Chuck?
not coming to the day party.
I bought my ticket in July.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I'm gonna be there.
I think it'll be too many people around, but I'm gonna be out.
It's
So,
outside.
yeah, but I'm still kind of.
He said he's kind of.
Yeah, I'm gonna be around.
I call bring your lawn chair and sit in the amphitheater of Cascade Park.
Now, that's
You can at least
something I
listen-
might
At least you
do.
go like this and listen to the
Yeah.
music.
Yeah,
Yeah, just go listen to the music.
Sharon,
I'm gonna be at the step show.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be at a step show. That's indoors.
It's at the Lawson Center. That thing ain't gonna be full.
Y'all sure y'all want to stop what y'all are doing at 8:40 on Friday night and do the
Stop
show?
what you're doing, because
I
I'm
ain't
about
making
to
no
ruin.
promises.
We gonna.
I'm making a promise.
We gonna see.
I'm gonna hold my laptop and turn my back so that you can see the pavilion. You can see
just
the
text
people
me,
at the
Joy.
day
I'll give you
party.
the status update.
I'm gonna be wherever Sharon
I'm
is.
going to be in my scooter or my golf cart.
Yeah, so we got to
We're
no,
in the
we got
weather.
to do. We have to do a homecoming show though. It might not be Friday. We could do a Saturday morning show, or we could do a show from the parking
Saturday
lot.
morning from the parade.
See, CJ call y'all out. See, y'all know y'all ain't showing up next
The,
week.
lies, Cecily. We've been planning this for 5
months.
months.
CJ, like, yeah, okay.
We ain't playing Friday night. Even Joy said Friday night.
Okay, then we could do it
Now,
Thursday
we can do
night.
it Thursday night. We sure can do it.
That's
See,
an
okay.
idea.
Let's
That's
do
an
it Thursday night then.
That's
From the
an
patio deck of the AC Hotel.
That's a good
Okay,
idea.
okay,
That's a
I
good
believe you now. Thursday night.
Look,
She said,
Thursday
"I
night.
believe you."
So you hear this, Sharpies? We got it on record because this is on YouTube now. So y'all go back and play this back for them next week. Thursday night.
They can
Thursday
find- what
night.
Special
time you
show
get it, Tom?
Thursday night.
Thursday night, get on up. What'd you say?
Now we can actually do that from my balcony Thursday night.
Yeah, let's do that from the balcony. We got to be together.
We can do that. And yes, I need to send you the picture of the patio.
Oh, okay, Cecily's just clowning now. So I'm gonna rest y'all if I make the trip to Tallahassee.
No,
Cecily,
Cecily, I'm telling you, we fixing to do it for real. for
Thursday
real.
night. So
Thursday night.
extra special homecoming show
That's right.
Thursday night.
Yes.
Thursday
Extra,
night.
extra special.
Right.
All right, y'all.
It may not start till 9:00 though.
Well, if it starts at 9:00, we're gonna have to be poking Chuck with a fork every
The
couple.
bear
Get a
has to
nap,
get his
Chuck.
rest.
no,
during
I'm gonna get a
homecoming
good
week.
nap. I'm
Okay, get a good nap then. Okay,
I'm gonna
good.
go home, rest, and then I'll be ready. So
Okay, good.
I'll be right where Sharon's spot is. It's all
All right. So let's do that.
We'll be live, so I know she'll kick me in the leg if
Yeah, that's right.
I'm tired. Be like, get your ass up.
I'm gonna poke you in
We're
your
gonna
eyeball,
have
Fi.
our bottle of prisoner wine,
Mhm.
and Chuck gonna bring the hard stuff.
That's what's
There
up.
it is.
That's what's
There it
up.
is.
It's a bet.
What time do you get in, Tom?
I'm in on Wednesday, but I'm driving up
Oh.
Thursday.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
that's
no, I'm
right.
not-
That's right. So you got to get there early because we got to set up the stuff.
Yeah, that's fine. That's good.
Oh, this is exciting.
And it's real, Cecily.
And you better be on live, Cecily.
Yeah, then we're gonna be looking for you, Cecily. We're gonna be calling you out. Cecily,
know that's right.
Thursday night.
Thursday night.
We're gonna start
Special
advertising
homecoming
it
edition.
on Monday.
Thursday night, get on
I'm
up.
gonna start advertising it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I'll send you the picture to put on the flyer.
Okay. All right. So Sharpies, we are out for the night. It has been wonderful to see you all. I'm excited that we're doing a special homecoming show next week.
Sharp coming.
Homecoming.
It's sharp
kickoff.
coming. Sharp coming.
All right, y'all.
The sharpening. I don't know.
It's the sharpening.
I am Sharon Letman Hicks.
I am Joy Stevens.
I'm Tom Cunningham,
And I'm Chuck Hobbs.
and we are Steel Sharpen Steel.
Yeah, you know what time it is. Crack open that bottle of wine. Grab your favorite glass, pour a couple of fingers of scotch in it. Get that stick, light it, and blow. It's time to hang